After bidding farewell to Rimuru, Hinata attempted to comprehend the present circumstances. The Capitol building, where the World Conference was being held, also housed conference rooms and guest accommodations on other floors. She decided to rent one of these rooms as a temporary command center and started gathering reports from her subordinates. As she began to grasp the situation, a headache overwhelmed her, prompting her to release a sigh. "I can't fathom what's happening," she couldn't help but mutter to herself. The capital had stringent security measures in place to ensure the safety of the dignitaries from various nations. The Holy Knight Order, along with knights and adventurers temporarily enlisted from different countries, were assigned to guard duty. The fall of the capital would disrupt the chain of command and lead to the redirection of refugees to alternative locations. The main hall of the Holy Church in the Kingdom of Ingratia was also prepared to accommodate refugees, and several refugee centers were established throughout the capital. This level of preparation was customary, considering the Tenma Great War that was believed to occur every few hundred years. Reports indicated that explosions were occurring all over the capital, swiftly transforming into raging fires. The fires were caused by special rank and higher magians. The Holy Knight Order had been mobilized due to the gathering of dignitaries from different nations. Thankfully, the Holy Knights on guard duty were managing the situation, but it was far from ideal. Hinata's primary focus now was to alleviate the anxiety of the evacuees and prevent further chaos, even if only to a limited extent. "I entrust this task to you. Make sure there is at least one Holy Knight stationed at each shelter. Seek assistance from the Templar Knights as well." "Yes, Hinata-sama." Some time had passed since the initial explosion, revealing the true scale of the enemy. A rebellion by death penalty prisoners. "Yes, furthermore, the enemy has freed Prince Elric, who was under house arrest in the north tower of the castle, and he has become their figurehead." "Prince Elric, I see he hasn't shown any remorse whatsoever." Elric was undergoing re-education due to his blunder during the council. He was on the brink of being stripped of his right to the throne, but Rimuru and King Angel of Ingratia, wanting to avoid further complications, agreed to reduce his guilt to the lowest degree since he was manipulated at the time. Nevertheless, it brought disgrace to the royal family, resulting in his year-long house arrest in the north tower of the castle. But it seemed that he had fallen into the hands of the enemy. To make matters worse, he appeared to be cooperating with them willingly. Not only that, but Elric and his cohorts were directly accusing Hinata. "My beloved people, I have been deceived by a witch. She has framed me and tarnished my reputation in the council. Now, she seeks to murder my father and plunge this land into chaos and misery. Do not be deceived. She intends to rob you of your freedom under the guise of evacuation. I trust that you, my wise and dear people, will discern whose words hold true." Prince Elric was proclaiming, delivering a speech in the main square of the city. Naturally, the prince of the country was openly denouncing Hinata, fueling the people's anxieties. He accused her of regicide, claiming she was an enchantress under the influence of the demon lord, someone who would lead the people to ruin. "Is that true? I personally heard it myself. Can you verify it?" "I can't enter the royal castle at the moment. I'm gathering information through Luminism's followers, but they seem to be quite confused." "In that case, there's a high possibility that King Angel has been killed. It's a terrible situation. Now, what should we do?" "I have evidence. Moss has witnessed Angel's murder with his own eyes. In other words, the leadership of this country is unreliable. It's complete chaos. Well, Gadra has been ordered to protect the council chamber, so the safety of the dignitaries is assured. At least that provides some relief." Testarossa and Hinata exchanged nods. However, the situation had become complicated. There was not only an unknown enemy but also someone who wanted to harm Hinata. They seemed to be specifically accusing Hinata of being a deceptive witch, misleading people. It was challenging to deny these accusations. Dealing with an ordinary person would not have been an issue, as Luminism's public power could easily crush them if they were a commoner. However, this involved the royal family of the country. The biggest problem was that Prince Elric was highly popular among the people. But even so, I can't believe. I never expected him to be such a fool. At that moment, a knock resounded at the door and a knight entered the room. It was Arnaud Bauman, one of Hinata's trusted subordinates and a captain of the Holy Knight Order. "Hinata-sama, we have confirmed the presence of Reiner, the former knight commander of the Kingdom of Ingratia. Additionally, we have identified dozens of knights who were supposed to be captured as his accomplices." "So, it was Reiner who killed the king, right?" "I am certain of it. He has been framed as the culprit, but I doubt he will have the opportunity to defend himself in court. That damn Reiner, how dare he hold a grudge against Hinata-sama just because he was defeated in the council meeting?" Hinata-sama has never enjoyed a good reputation. I guess we're not a top priority. But even so, I never imagined he would murder his own father, the king. It appears he is trying to shift the blame onto Hinata-sama, but that's simply absurd. But I don't understand. I don't think this Reiner guy was skilled enough to assassinate the king. Apparently, all the magical inquisitors have been killed. We received information that they were conducting a suspicious experiment underground, and it seems the experimental entities have spiraled out of control. Nikolaus, I bring a message from Lumina's-sama, but I thought it necessary to investigate while I was here. What if, instead of taking advantage of the chaos, this entire situation is precisely what Elric and the others desire? But aren't those monsters rampaging through the city? That's the first peculiar thing. How can a monster breach the royal capital protected by the city barriers? Moreover, the strength of these monsters is pitiful, isn't it? Speaking of which, some of my subordinates were defeated. They were ordered to retreat before their deaths, so I didn't gather much information. Although she didn't have much information, Tensura decided to share what she knew. Her subordinates were the Devil Chevaliers, all of whom were special a rank with existence values exceeding 100,000. Given the strength of the Devil Chevaliers, it was expected that the magical inquisitors would be no match for them, resulting in the inquisitors choosing to retreat. Apparently, the experimental subjects were imbued with angelic incarnations. What does that mean? The ones who fail to fully incarnate are the monsters currently wreaking havoc, and those who still retain their identities. The enemy that had defeated the Devil Chevaliers, Tensura was convinced that they were one of Michael's men. The only remaining Holy Knight captains in the room were Arnaud and Fritz. Leonard, the second in command, was overseeing the situation on the scene with Bacchus and Rides. Thanks to their training in the labyrinth, even the ordinary Holy Knights who were not captains had grown into formidable warriors. In fact, the captains themselves had become so powerful that they could defeat opponents similar to Clayman on their own. However, facing an experiment involving magical inquisitors fused with the power of angels, it would be dangerous to confront them directly. Moreover, with Michael lurking in the shadows as Rimuru's adversary, Hinata decided that they shouldn't get involved recklessly. Nikolaus, you have a message from Lumina's, correct? Yes, that's correct. She says it's not an urgent matter, but she can't send reinforcements. That means there are other enemies. This is challenging. So, what should we do? Our usual winning strategies won't work. That's true. Dealing with the monsters alone would be one thing. But there's also Reiner and the others. That Reiner guy, he's likely a success. What do you mean by that? I'd ask you to figure it out for yourself, but we don't have much time. If Reiner was also sentenced to death, it wouldn't be surprising if he was used as an experiment, right? I see. So it's possible that he has acquired the power of an angel. Arnaud and Fritz comprehended the situation, and their faces turned pale simultaneously. It's not just a possibility. Consider it a certainty, Tensura ruthlessly declared.